In this video, I'm going to look at how to use Stellar oracles on a Soroban smart contract. I'm going to start by explaining what oracles are and how they work. Then we'll look at some practical examples for how to actually pull in some token prices and what you can do with that within a smart contract. The oracle network we're going to be using today is the Reflector network. This is a relatively new network, and I believe it's made by the same people that done Stellar Expert. If we go into the source code, which is it's all open source on GitHub, you can see they've got the info at Stellar Expert email address for anyone who wants to get in contact with them. They currently provide free Oracle services. There's an external CEX, DEX for centralized and decentralized exchanges, and this provides pricing data for Bitcoin and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies, I believe a range of different sources, and then aggregates that into one price. There's then the Stellar Pubnet Oracle address, which is one we're going to be using mainly today. This provides XLM and a range of other kind of tokens that are currently trading on the Stellar public network. The final one is the foreign exchange rates, and this provides euros, GBP sterling, Canadian dollars, and Brazilian real price feeds for all of that data. And for all of these, you can see it's got a sampling period of 5 minutes, decimals 14, and the base symbol for I think all of this is in US dollars. If we go back into the Stellar Pubnet, we can go into use it in our smart contract. You can see it gives us a simple little interface here for interacting with the smart contract, which is hosted on Stellar. The one we really want is going to be this last price. This is going to provide an option for the last price that was updated for the asset that we require. The assets themselves are constructed slightly differently as well. There's a kind of a custom data structure for that. And we're going to be using the contract address to generate a reflector asset. An oracle is basically a bridge between real-world data and on-chain data held within smart contracts on a decentralized network. The standard decentralized network with a virtual machine that developers can build smart contracts on is hosted in a contained environment, so it can't execute external queries to kind of fetch API data or something like that, which you might be able to do within a Web 2 environment. To get around this and to bring real-world data on-chain, we use oracles, which act as the middlemen. So an oracle service will use an external API to go and get some data, then it'll update that to a trusted smart contract. The oracle or the oracle network will host a hot wallet, which will be authorized to update the information in the smart contract. Within the Reflect documentation, you can see their network currently hosts a 4 out of 7 multisig. So that means 4 out of any 7 authorized wallets on that network, authorized nodes on the network, need to update the same information for it to go through and update the smart contract. So the flow of data here is that any kind of real-world information will be sent via an API to the Oracle node. That will collect up the data and then pass a transaction through to a smart contract held within the blockchain to update that data, which will contain a live price for whatever we're looking at. As an external smart contract developer, I can then go in and use them prices within my own smart contracts to do whatever business logic I'm looking to do. Let's look at a practical example of how this works within a Soroban smart contract. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at this example, which is Oracle example contract. And all this does is it gets the price of a token traded on the Stellar Pubnet. Below this, you'll recognize this interface, which is a copy of the interface provided in the documentation. So we're going to pull that straight into this contract, and then we're going to use it to set up an oracle. This address here is the oracle address provided here. We can go into Stellar Expert and copy that address. And that's a different address depending on which oracle you want to use, whether it's the decentralized exchanges, the Pubnet, or the foreign exchange rates. We're then going to set up a token. So we can go address from and pass in this token contract address, whichever token we want to use. Again, you can find these token contract addresses by clicking on the asset and the Soroban contract here. And then we can just copy this contract address at the top here. This is the token contract address. We then use the Oracle address to set up a Reflector client and the token contract address to set up a Reflector asset. We can then call the last price function within the smart contract on Reflector to pass back an option which contains the price. We unwrap that and send it back as the output as a I128 128-bit integer variable or number, which includes the decimals for the US dollar price of that token. We then call this function from anywhere else in the smart contract or its pub function, so we can actually call it remotely as well, and that will pass back the price, including the decimals for that token. Let's build this and deploy it just to see it works. We've compiled a WebAssembly file. Let's deploy that. We're going to have to deploy it to mainnet, so we need some XLM. I don't believe there's a testnet version of this, so we're going to have to experiment with it in production. There's no constructor arguments or anything here, so let's deploy. There we go, we've got a contract address. We open this up in the Soroban Explorer, switch this to mainnet, load, and we can use get price to return the current price of the KL token. Note this is a big number because it includes the 14 decimals, which is specified here. Now let's look at a slightly more complex example where I want to lock a digital asset within a smart contract and not let anyone gain access to it until it reaches a certain price. So it's kind of like a forced hodl strategy. The asset I'm going to be using for this is XLM. Now XLM is the native asset for Stellar, but it behaves very much like any other SEP41 token, so we can use it interchangeably within this contract. Let's open this up in the Soroban playground and we can see we have a few interesting things going on here. First is I've got a testnet and mainnet token address, so there is XLM deployed on testnet. So we can potentially use this to experiment in testnet. I've then got this public is mainnet function, which is very useful within smart contracts. This is a very simple way to see if you're on mainnet or testnet and to not mess things up with token addresses if you are. You can see we're using if self is mainnet equals true, and we're going to use the mainnet token, if not use the testnet token. And we're going to store that in persistent storage. We have this function here, which is very similar to the function we looked at in the previous contract. And what it's doing is returning the token price of the XLM token using the Stellar pubnet oracle from Reflector. We've then got a fake function here just to test that it actually works. Obviously, the token price here isn't going to change that much. We can't manipulate the price of that on mainnet. So we've put in a testnet function just to do a bit of testing and mess around with that price to set it as whatever we want. We then have the core business logic within the function. This is this withdraw function. We're passing in a to address. You'll notice this is only owner. We're using the Open Zeppelin access libraries here. We're importing them at the top here in the macros. And we're setting the owner to the person that deployed the contract. So the only person that can withdraw funds from this contract is the owner of the contract. We're going to go get that token address from persistent storage that we set earlier. And then we're going to use the oracle price if we're on mainnet. And if we're on testnet, we're going to use this little helper function. If the XLM is below our target price, no, this isn't any kind of price prediction, I just put in a big number to make sure that no one thought I was kind of predicting the future price of XLM, then we're going to panic with error, price too low. Note that this price in testnet has a 1 on the end, so this number that the testnet price is going to push back is actually going to allow us to withdraw functions. So this is simulating an environment where the price is appreciated above our target price. We're going to create a token client using the token address, and this is using the SEP41 token library. I'm going to transfer the balance of the contract. So the first thing we're going to do with that token client is get the balance of the contract. So we're going to say call the balance of the token and pass in the current contract address, which you can get from the end value. And then we're going to transfer from the current contract address to the user, which is the deployer of the contract, the user's account, the balance of the contract. Let's build this one out, and then we're going to deploy it to testnet just to see if it works. With this contract, there is a constructor argument. We need to pass through the owner address of the contract. So let's do that. Let's add a constructor value, set this to address, and deploy to WebAssembly. So now if I copy this contract address, we can load this up in Stellar Expert, and let's also load it here as well. You can check the owner is myself, and I'm going to send some testnet funds to the contract. So let's fund this account with Friendbot. I've got 10,000 XLM. Let's send the contract address 100 tokens. That's gone through, and if we refresh the page, it hasn't updated the balance here yet, but we can see down here that 100 XLM has been transferred from my Freighter wallet to the contract. We can check that is mainnet returns false, so we are on testnet here, and that should use the logic. The Oracle price is going to return a failure because the reflector contracts aren't deployed on testnet as far as I know. But the testnet price, which we're going to be using, is just returning that value that we've hard-coded within the library, which is the target price with a 1 on the end. We've got some helper functions here which come with the OpenZeppelin library to transfer ownership. What I want is the withdraw function, and I'm going to withdraw it to my owner address, which is this one that deployed the contract. What it should do is now withdraw our XLM back to that wallet. Transaction sent, checking the block explorer, let's have a look. And that is successful. And we can see that the funds here, 100 XLM, which is the balance of the contract, has all been transferred back to the deployer's address. This is a nice example of what you can do and how you can use up-to-date pricing information within a Soroban smart contract. If we go into the Reflector site, there's also some documentation here, and I've got some example code. We've got a false position liquidation, algorithmic stablecoins, and portfolio rebalancing. There's some more example code that you can kind of have a look at if you're using Reflector's Oracle services to see what they've kind of shown that you can do with it. As always, there's a full tutorial in my blog which goes through this in some more detail, and all the examples are open source on GitHub. Links are in the description. Thanks for watching.